Hello and welcome back to the back nine of round 3 at the 2024 European Open presented by Discmania. This is the third major of the year. We have moved over to the Beast course in Nokia, Finland. I'm Ella Hansen.
I'm Madison Walker, and we are so thankful that there is no weather out there today at the Beast. Not even a lot of wind you have to worry about. Heading into this back nine, it is a big deal. We are seeing a lot of birdies from Silva. She's 5 down on the front 9. Eveliina playing some solid golf, but a little bit of a struggle bus for Kristin and Missy. Missy making some really long putts. However, this is cut day. You have to be right around the 12 over par mark, right around that tie for 14th area in order to play on Sunday. Let's get this back nine kicked off.
We are going to hole 10, 230 meters, 755 feet. One of the tougher par 4s, especially one of the open ones. You want to throw something that's going to be stable, but mostly a consistent shot in the wind, and going down to this narrow fairway. As you can see, out of bounds is just outside the bullseye on this basket, and if you're going for the birdie, you have to throw a really good, committed, confident shot.
This is another hole that we play same tee pad, same basket as the MPO. Another hole that, in my opinion, could maybe use a little work before Worlds next year. Not one that we're going to see a ton of birdie looks on. Even having big distance, you have to kind of push the OB line more than we just saw Silva do right there. She kind of floated hers out more to the right side and towards that tree. It's a safe shot, and it's setting you up for sure to get a par, but you have to be really aggressive to birdie from there.
It's a good shot for Eveliina, going for that tree. That is my aiming point, and I think a lot of the players' aiming points. Just hoping you hyzer in front or behind it.
And what's the distance from that tree to the green? Like 340?
Yeah, maybe a little more.
Okay.
Like, I think 380, maybe 400.
Okay.
Still a pretty big shot from there.
And definitely a risky shot as well. There is OB all the way down the right-hand side on that shot.
That looks really good for Kristin. Maybe a little, no, not really too short.
Yeah. There's kind of a sweet spot if you're able to land a little bit left of that tree, but it is so scary because that OB line on the left comes up really fast.
I think Missy throwing a bit of a conservative shot here, which is a play I like. I think that's safe, even though it looked like you could see the stakes. It's going to be a tough spot behind that corner of the fence, but...
Yeah, there's a little bubble over there where the OB pulls away. Silva getting a lot more aggressive here, riding that OB line the whole way, trusting that this to come back in the middle. She'll have a very straightforward approach to the green.
Eveliina with an absolute crush drive, lined up well. That might be too high. Is it going to get... Oh, no. Over the fence. That is not a place you see a lot of people go OB, but I think it's definitely possible. And I think one of the factors at play today, you said there's no wind, but I think for a lot of the practice for most players it was windy, and so really having to make some... Oh, wait, that's OB? Did she roll under the fence?
I don't know. I would have thought that was safe by a mile.
Wow. Well, I was just saying, you got to trust your discs to throw the great shots. I can't believe...
Yeah, we'll see when she gets up to her lie. Missy coming up a little short. She's in circle 2, but still able to putt for par. Silva's third, just a pretty simple chip up to the green. Love the hay bales here to keep your discs from rolling out of bounds.
Nice to have on such a sloped green. You can kind of use those as a bit of a backboard.
Eveliina from out of bounds, having to just chip her fourth up. Bogey is the best she can do here. Let's see what happened with Kristin's. Yep, looks like she just rolled through that gap in the fence.
I have seen that gap a million times and thought, wow, that would be unfortunate if you went in there.
Oh my gosh.
That's kind of another thing that for Worlds, just for competitive balance. I feel like I would love to see just put a sign up there or something to block that, because pretty much every other spot on that fence you're going to get caught.
Yeah, maybe just throw a little net up or something. Eveliina with a pretty technical little downhill putt around that bush, but she is good for the bogey. Missy coming back for her bogey.
Only one birdie on the day today. Paige Pierce.
She was on my card. It was probably, I want to say, a 75-foot throw-in.
Oh.
Long. It wasn't a throw-in because it was a putt, but it was downhill and definitely sent.
Sounds like Paige.
And yeah, by the reaction, she was not expecting to make it. So this was played as the most difficult hole of the day today, with that one birdie, 30% of the field with a par, and over half the field taking a bogey or worse. A lot of doubles.
Yeah, 3 bogeys for our lead card. Silva getting the par, maintaining her bogey-free round, moving to hole 11.
101 meters, 331 feet. Look at this drone flyover. It was thankfully not as boggy when we played it today. That little pond on the right, however, is permanently there, and it is right in the landing zone for a lot of FPO competitors. You have to make a decision here whether you're going to kind of come in on the short side of that. It's like a pinched part of the fairway where the OB on the right and left can come into play, or send it deep and try to take your chances through the low-hanging branches of that cluster of trees. They did clear it out a lot from years prior, from what I understand.
Yeah, they definitely did, and I think that's a good change. Silva needed a little bit more height or a little bit more power on that shot to really get the glide back over towards the basket. And Eveliina going really high. This looks perfect. Sit down.
Yeah, in order to choose that shot that Eveliina just did, you really have to have a very powerful 300 and I would say 20 or 30 feet of distance on pure hyzer, which is totally different than flexing one.
Yes.
It's very important to not come in early like Missy's disc could be doing. That OB line comes into play so fast.
Yeah, it really pinches in the fairway there. So this is kind of one of those shots that it's kind of like, all right, I'm going to go for it, and I'm either going to get a bogey or a birdie. There's not a whole lot of pars relative to the other holes on this one, I don't think.
I'm a weirdo. I actually played this hole for par.
Okay.
I just pitch up to that tree in the middle and try to make a long putt. But where Kristin landed is a low ceiling, so it's really tough to get a look at a putt. You have to go just a little bit further past that or a little short of it.
Missy looking at a 13-meter putt to save par.
Come on.
Holy.
Missy putting on a putting clinic today.
She really is. Getting another Jomez. Yeah, just dead center. Perfect height, perfect pace.
What a great recovery for par. So clutch. Silva has a wide open putt as well.
Not quite giving it enough height.
Eveliina, the only birdie on the card.
Okay, Eveliina.
I know. I love this little hyzer putt she's doing from circle 2.
She knew that was in, too.
Eveliina, one of only 7 birdies on the day today.
Yeah, looking at the stats, 4 of the 7 birdies were parked inside the bullseye. It's kind of what you're hoping to do on this hole.
Yeah, I watched both Paige and Rachel Turton park this one.
So Eveliina making that putt, extending her lead over Kristin Tattar to 4 strokes. Kind of surprising. I certainly was expecting to see Kristin getting a lot more birdies on this course today. Moving to hole 12, another really tough par 4. This is the start of the second wooded section. Another left to right drifting tee shot, and then hoping to get out into the open if you can. And this is a pretty technical upshot. There is this kind of almost cliff off to the left side of the basket that's pretty steep. It's only about 4 or 5 meters away from the basket, so you really need to land your approach with a lot of precision.
I like this shot from Eveliina. Coming in high through that gap and giving your disc time to turn is a great play for getting way down the fairway and setting yourself up to potentially get down and give a putt, but hyzering out like that is absolutely brutal. You got to keep the disc on turn like we see Missy doing really well, not quite biting off as much distance as Eveliina.
And there is an OB patch just to the left, right off the tee. It is not super big, but it kind of gets in your head a little bit.
I love this play from Kristin. Almost perfect. I think 2 forehands can get yourself in a really nice position for an easy, no-nonsense par, stress-free. The backhand is a little more aggressive, but definitely gets you more in position to potentially get a birdie.
This is really just such a tough tee shot. I think where the actual gap is relative to the tee pad is further than it looks, and you really have to push something if you're going back in that's going to be straight and fade really late.
So this is another hole, same tee pad, same basket as the MPO. I was talking about my game plan, was saying like, oh, I really do think I can birdie this one with 2 good shots. And Calvin was like, I don't think I can even birdie it. So it's kind of speaks to the difficulty of the hole. How delusional are you feeling? The low ceiling really does make it extremely difficult to attack, though, on that second shot.
Yeah, the overhanging trees, and you can kind of see how the fairway kind of undulates, little ups and downs. And so if you do end up short, you can kind of see from this camera angle, like, your gap vertically can be just like a couple feet almost if you end up in a specific spot.
Eveliina just forced to pitch out with an overhand. Putting it further to the right on the fairway is an advantage, but like Ella said, it does bring the low ceiling. So Eveliina chooses that middle route.
Wow, just
Come
smacks
on.
a bunch of trees off the tee and gets all the way up there into the bullseye.
Where would that disc have gone if it did not hit those?
I don't know. One of the nice things about this hole is it does slope up behind the basket, so you can get a little bit aggressive.
These approaches are truly unbelievable. When Ella was doing the whole preview, that little cliff, quote unquote, that's to the left of the basket, it drops off so far and it is so full of vegetation. You almost, and we're going to see what it looks like.
Yeah. It's hard to get down there, like physically to just get into the lower area.
Where is Missy?
Yeah, that's
we love that camera angle.
In the bushes, yeah. And Kristin, it's both a steep hill and it, like you said, it is very vegetated. Is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Vegetating undulations.
That's what,
if you will, on the left side of this fairway. There were no birdies on hole 12. I played the 6th most difficult hole, even with no birdies, which is so wild.
73% of the field got a par.
The stats for the Beast are just a little mind-numbing.
Yeah, this is one I think could definitely see a shorter tee pad or shorter basket. I really like the challenge of the tee shot, and I like where the green is situated, so it's kind of tough. But
yeah, just take out the middle.
Yeah, just cut out a little section in the middle, squish those parts together.
Yeah, course designers, contact us. We'll help.
We got some great ideas. Kristin picked up another bogey there. We're moving on to hole 13.
This is another par 4 that's right around 600 feet or 180 meters, but just really hard to birdie. Seems like you could just do 200, 300-foot shots and have a putt, but that is just not how the cookie crumbles here. The tee shot is extremely technical with a huge tree that makes the gap kind of a strange shape. There's a low ceiling and a high floor, and you have to navigate both of those equally. And you can't just dummy a hyzer because there's a patch of trees on the corner that you have to make sure your disc lands to the right of. Your second shot is a huge hyzer, and hopefully you get some good skips off the grass. There's a perfect guardian tree that blocks putting from the short side of the green, and it drops off behind the basket. I think that's everything.
Yeah, this is a really intimidating tee shot, and like you said, you kind of want to throw it down, but those trees, even though they're above the gap, they're kind of right at the tee's height, right at eyeball height, so you have to really throw it down off of your tee shot, or else you are getting in danger.
Yeah, this is one where I think you kind of are choosing before you throw of how aggressive you want to be here. I think it's pretty easy to make the gap if you take some steam off a little bit and don't try to crest the hill. But if you're trying to go huge, it really does bring that tree into play. Kristin, again, erroring just a little bit on the high side. I love the forehand play here. It's what I throw as well.
Me too. We agreed on something, Mad.
What?
Yeah, I really like the forehand.
Kristin's second forehand, though, is great. Way out into the middle. It'll be very straightforward from this point forward.
Nice rhyme.
Thanks. It was actually just 2 forwards.
Oh, well, good thing the same word rhymes with itself.
Eveliina, even with how much power she put in, just kind of burned one into the hill. Her second shot out in the middle. You can see how difficult it is to get enough carry to find the green for putting. Missy having to cheat through these corner trees, which can work.
Yeah, getting down there, I think she was looking maybe for a tiny bit more turn out of the hand, but getting about to 25 meters.
Silva probably with the best angle. Love to watch her throw these standstill shots. This is a little lower than you want.
Yeah, good angle, just a little low, I think. And yeah, if you throw a really good tee shot, it looks pretty straightforward. I think where Kristin is where like some of the best tee shots are getting.
Really?
Yeah, gosh. I saw a really good tee shot, but as you can see, that tree right in the middle of the fairway.
Kristin is kind of just finding every single thing that you don't want to find on the course. Real. She's having a chaos round.
Pulled hers a little bit. That's a nice reaction off those trees. Oh, and she's about 8 meters.
Yeah, you'd rather putt from down there than on the top side. Silva not trying to mess around with this big guardian tree, just chipping one up to the green.
And yeah, like you mentioned on the flyover, there is a lot of rollaway potential on this green. Missy looks like she's running it through the gap. Wow.
God, I love watching her play disc golf.
That is feisty. And it almost went in, too.
Kristin showing off her flexibility and stability. And
oh my
canning
God.
that? Are you kidding me?
That is an amazing putt. Like, no fear, big drop off behind the most awkward position you could find yourself in.
I mean, it drops off a couple meters behind the basket. That thing could go so far past. That's so good.
What a good putt.
Really nice par save after hitting that guardian tree.
Not her best round, but it's still Kristin Tattar, still the highest rated FPO player in the world for a reason, and still showing us some good highlights.
Silva, after coming in a little spicy on the approach, still saving her par. There was one birdie today from Jenny Karppinen. Wow, Jenny.
Yenny. Eveliina from down the hill.
So it's Jenny Karppinen.
Yenny, yeah.
And Jenny, I wonder if she was in circle 1 or circle 2. Very impressive birdie.
Good comebacker for Missy. And Eveliina will be looking at a bogey here. Didn't quite get enough commitment on her par putt.
This hole played as the one in the top 5 most difficult holes of the day, with just that one birdie, with 60% of the field taking a par and just over 30 taking a bogey or worse. Ooh, the beast.
Ooh, indeed. Moving on, we got hole 14, 120 meters. This is a big one. There is...
It is.
There's a valley and rough on the right. There is a line of trees on the left. Not really any OB that comes into play, but a lot of natural OB on this hole. It's going to be like a big, long drifting turnover for a lot of the field.
Yep, main goal is to get over the valley and hopefully land on the mountain on the other side.
That's great.
Yeah, Missy's going to be not quite to circle 2, I don't believe, but you're so happy if you just have a small up and down.
Yeah, and I think this hole is gettable for some of the field, but I think a lot of people are just trying to hit this gap, get down onto that second half of the fairway, and give yourself maybe a long look for birdie if you're lucky.
I think Silva probably in the 25 to 28 meter range.
Yeah, you can see with both Silva and Kristin throwing it so low, you're not really trying to get to the green with that kind of shot, just trying to hit the fairway.
If you turn this disc over, it's so brutal, very vegetated. If you come short and hit that wall of trees on the left-hand side, it is extremely difficult to get up and down from there. It literally is just a big wall, and you're underneath it. You can't throw over the top, you can't throw around, you can't go through. So everyone does a great job of navigating both of those obstacles, landing in the middle and just taking a par. And that's kind of the story of hole 14. Let's see if Silva can maybe get a birdie.
That might be right on the edge of her standstill putt range, which is kind of wild. Just easy little standstill runs from 25 meters. You can see Missy on this right. There is some danger on the right if you turn it over too much. And 4 kind of half runs. Everybody in the bullseye will be looking at a par.
No birdies today on this hole. 92% of the field with a par.
Honestly, that's impressive to me.
I agree.
I feel scared of this hole sometimes.
Yeah,
and
this
I
hole
think
is super bogeyable.
having that many pars is pretty impressive.
3 people got to circle 1 in regulation. Really?
Rip City.
Rip City.
Me too. Well, I was one of them.
You were?
Yeah, I got to like 7 meters and then I hit the cage like a dweebus.
You don't have a lot of circle 1 putts to warm up before you get here. I feel like you're
No.
just doing circle 2 putts all day.
For sure. And
All right, that closes off pretzel loop number 2.
we had not a lot of birdies on pretzel loop number 2.
Nope, and we head back across to the holes we played during the President's Cup. This is one that they did give us a really nice change. Same tee pad, but they made it a par 4. It's 476 feet, 145 meters. The landing zone is, let's say the short side OB is probably right around 300 feet. The long side OB is closer to 320, 330, 340. Maybe even more than that. The basket is elevated. This is not one that we'll see, I don't think, anyone in the field going for the green. I'm going to say that, and Evelina's going to do it.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Really?
We
had a little bit of a headwind here. And so this is a pretty classic mistake, finding that shul on the right-hand side. It's really tough to recover from there, but thankfully it's a par 4. Missy can still get the par.
And this hole is feels pretty simple to birdie. It's kind of straightforward, but especially with the
That's why I'm surprised people are going for it.
coming out of the woods, and getting out into the open, throwing a big downhill shot. Can be a little hard to trust a disc if you are attacking it.
Mm-hmm. Kristin, oh no, gonna trickle OB left.
Wow, and you can see that corner there just butting out right there. Unfortunate. And
Okay.
here's Eveliina.
Okay.
Is she going for it? No, that's a putter.
Did people go for this?
I did.
You did.
Anna did. Anna
Wow.
eagled it like tap-in eagle last year.
Nice. Okay, but not many people are going for it.
I don't think so.
Missy just having to pitch out through the middle. With this change from a par 3 to a par 4, I guess they had it last year as well. It plays as the easiest hole on the course. This is one that you definitely have in your notebook as a birdie that needs to be got. 17 on the day today from the FPO field out of 27 competitors.
Good upshot for Silva. Is he still pretty far back?
That OB line on the right-hand side comes into play real quick. You can see Missy doing a great job of kind of floating one out.
This is the easiest hole on the course. It feels like you need to get a birdie or you're having a sad time. Eveliina going with the forehand, a little bit juiced.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Left side miss for Kristin. She must just be feeling off today. We really don't see that almost ever from her.
No, and taking a bogey on the easiest hole is never going to feel good. Not something we see often from the lead card. Eveliina not quite able to capitalize on her birdie putt as well. Oh, man.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised.
Me too.
My card was 3 under par on this hole.
I think we got a little star frame.
Yeah. This one feels like when you really want a birdie and you're going into one of the scariest holes on the course after this, and really you want to get
Oh my god.
you want to get yourself a stroke, but
Silva the only one able to capitalize.
and Kristin's putting for bogey, so Silva now is past Kristin into second place. Pretty surprising, honestly.
Yeah.
Considering I think this is like a 10-stroke 10-stroke difference or something like that after round 2, so yeah. Silva getting up into second place, shooting the hot round so far, 5 under par. And yeah, we saw some rounds under par here, but not a lot.
Yep. I think Kristin won this event last year with an 11 down after 4 rounds. So
moving to hole 16. This is an iconic hole, maybe a slightly less iconic now. We've got a couple of rule changes this year. It used to be just bunker rules. You kept throwing until you landed in bounds. This year, we have 2 drop zones, one on the fairway, one up by the basket. And you still want to get in bounds off the tee.
yep, it's a decision here. You don't have to go crazy if you're not planning on going across on your second shot. You can just chip something down to the middle, chip something to the landing zone, throw your third shot across. But some players are trying to wrap the corner a good bit so they can throw their second across to the island.
And that gravel path kind of intersects the ideal landing zone for a lot of FPO players. So you want to make sure that you're either short or long of that path because it can be slippery or you're kind of
Running up
or down,
Yep.
off of that path.
Ooh, this looks great from Missy. Really nice amount of turn.
Yeah, really smooth.
Wow.
That's way down there.
I like that aggressive inner gap that Missy took. We saw Eveliina go wide hyzer around. Kristin throwing a hyzer through the middle gap. And it's
Is that
not going to work.
Wow, just not quite getting enough flip up on that.
Silva looks like she's just eyeing the layup zone, continuing around to the left.
I'm surprised to see anybody lay up on this hole.
Really? Everyone on my card did.
For me, if you look at the hole, if you landed in bounds and then you go out of bounds, you have a drop zone putt for 4.
Yeah.
And Kristin out of bounds from the drop zone. She's going to be putting for 5.
But if you just chip up where Silva is, you pitch across, you take a par.
Yeah, but you have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, and Eveliina going long. This green is so touchy.
That's what I'm worried about going across into, is coming in with a faster disc. I love from the layup area, you can throw a mid and kind of like grip on there nice and soft. Missy does a great job of spiking one in. She's still flirting with that OB line deep, but that is a great shot.
Yeah, I think the way this green slopes, you kind of think it's going to catch your disc a little bit more than it actually does.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to go.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. And that is why I think you should go for it. Just because if you go OB on your third shot, suddenly you're, looking at a double bogey. Doesn't feel good.
Oof, I can't reach it on my second shot.
This is kind of one of those holes. This was a big, notable change this year. Oh, I'm also really surprised to see Eveliina going for that.
A nice soft bid.
Yeah, I guess the way her putt is, it doesn't really have a ton of steam up at the basket.
Kristin giving it a good run, just a little bit short. I kind of like this drop zone putt. Mm-hmm. I think it's very fun, very reminiscent of the 8 holes at MVP at Maple Hill. Oh no.
That's tough for Missy. Only birdie opportunity on this card. There was only 4 today. Paige Pierce, Kat Murch, Amanda Lennartson, and Annie.
Okay, I lied.
Pearson-Maki.
Paige went across on my card. Okay. I thought everyone laid up. Yes. Paige went across, and she parked it. It was great.
Sweet. Yeah, it definitely takes a really touchy shot into the screen, and I'm curious if we'll have the same rules and drop zone situation for next year's Worlds.
Yeah, I can't quite see how they would change it any other way. They're kind of just having to do all of that with this wide open area.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can do differently, maybe.
Maybe you could have like an out of bounds tee shot still be a re-tee, or move the drop zone a little further on the second drop zone. You know, the course designers could figure it out.
Hole 17 is 361 feet, 110 meters. It is downhill, but you have to push really far straight before that hill really takes effect of your disc. You don't want it to have full control though, because that out of bounds line comes into place so fast on the deep side of this green. We had a little bit of a left to right crosswind today here and there. You'll see a lot of players just working a hyzer up the right hand side. There is an OB line over there if you flip your disc. Not everyone playing this hole super aggressively, just looking for some ground play like we see Missy doing really well.
That is perfect. That, I think, is the ideal way to play this hole. Not bringing too much danger, just getting enough hyzer to skip up into the circle. That's just a little too much turn from Eveliina. Should be a pretty simple up and down, although the basket is on such a side slope that the layup can be pretty scary. That also looks great.
So good.
Sit down.
You see how quickly that OB line comes into play on the left. Silva and Missy both did such a great job of matching the angle of the hill, keeping their shots super low and powerful.
Kristin going with the forehand. That looks too turned. Can it get back in bounds? Yeah? No. Oh my gosh.
Man, she's having one of those days where everything that can go wrong
Yeah.
is.
For real.
Every time.
Yeah, and, you know, we could see maybe 50, 75% of that time that shot sits down right on fairway. Just laying up. Gonna be another bogey for Kristin. That's a nice layup for Eveliina, playing it out to the right, trusting that it's gonna get a little bit of a roll back down the hill.
Only 5 people got to circle 1 in regulation today. Silva, one of them, and one of the 6 birdies.
What, a circle 2 birdie? Oh, Jenny Karpinen again. That seems like she had some good highlights today.
Missy just one step out of the bullseye. What a shot.
That's a great birdie. And yeah, even that kind of putt is a little scary. It's pretty steep. Just want to trust your putt there. What'd you do on this hole today, Mad?
Hit the flag.
Let's go. Pretty sick.
It was very awesome. I love these 2 finishing holes. I think it's clear that I don't quite love the Beast, especially as much as the Monster, but I think hole 17 and 18 are really, really well designed for finishing a tournament.
Yeah.
16, 17, and 18. They
Yeah.
definitely make for some exciting changes.
Definitely a gauntlet on the
Yes.
last couple holes here.
But fair.
Fair, yes. Hole 18, par 5 for the FPO, 699 feet, 213 meters. You want to get down to that flat area off the tee. There's OB left and right all the way up this hole. And up by the green, you can see that OB line is just a step outside the bullseye. You really need to be precise on your upshot to make sure that you are both inbounds and not in a tree.
Missy starting us off. A little bit of a left to right crosswind here and there. You see forehands and backhands off the tee. The backhand brings that OB line on the right side into play. Missy. She's out, she's in.
She was holding her breath there for a second. Gets a little bit of a lucky break to stay in bounds. That looks good if it can hold. Yeah,
Wow.
Do you know what that disc is?
No, and I
She's
wish I
thrown
did.
it
Maybe
so well.
I don't know, and it's so perfect, and I want to know.
I feel like I've seen her throw that every time. I think it's maybe not going to turn enough, and then it just holds so straight. That might be too turned over. Yeah, way too turned over for Eveliina. And it kind of cuts in. I don't know if she crossed into the skinnier part of the fairway or if she's going to be kind of at the short corner.
I think she did. Kristin opting for the forehand here. I love that play. It does, again, bring this right side OB line into play. I know. If you combine all of her OB distances, it's less than a meter.
That's so brutal.
It's so close. Eveliina way down there. Able to go across on her second and way up this hill.
Really like the forehand play.
Thank you.
Matching the angle of the fairway. And not sure if that's the release she wanted, but it's in bounds. Yeah, Kristin just not quite on it today.
Silva's so far down the fairway.
That is such a good shot. And a great approach. Setting herself up for a short pitch up for a birdie.
Missy trying to get up to the bubble where it widens. That is great. She's almost up in the flat.
That was a great shot from Missy. It's like kind of eagleable from the bottom. Well, it's definitely eagleable if you throw 2 really good shots and you have a lot of power, but so uphill you really have to throw a shot you are going to trust, especially with the way this fairway snakes.
Silva just making disc golf look effortless today.
Don't roll out of
No
bounds.
way.
Oh.
Oh my.
Oh. Someone on my card hit the base just like that and did roll out of bounds.
Eveliina just chipping up. Par feels good on hole 18, even though it is definitely birdieable. There were only 9 birdies today out of 27 competitors.
Missy pitching up. She will have herself a top-end birdie. Yeah, definitely birdieable, but also definitely blow-upable on this hole. Very challenging. Kristin finishes her round with only 1 birdie.
Eveliina with a few bogeys on the back, but playing solid enough to hold on to the lead by a good bit.
Silva getting herself a birdie. Having another stroke on the leader. She's only 3 off the pace. Looking like it could be a finish tomorrow.
I love that a finish. A lot of bogeys on the back 9 at the Beast. There's a reason it has its name. We're going to watch 3 of the same competitors on the lead card. Missy in a tie for 4th with Kaidi Alsalu, who is going to be on our lead card tomorrow. So excited to watch her attack the Beast. Katie Tati putting together such a great round, just falling off just a tiny bit at the end there. The cut line was at 16th place today. I think we had a tie for 15th, and that is where the line is drawn. Still a battle to cash, though, tomorrow. Only the top 12 cash on Sunday. The European Open is a brutal competition.
It is.
We have a sunshine in the forecast tomorrow for our second round at the Beast. Please come hang with us at our 3rd major of the year. Thanks again to the Founders Club. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Ella Hansen. See you tomorrow.